So we had just finished, oh, yes, we did do the rest of it. It was over there. So we were here. I remember now, because Penny was gone. All right, so for each of the angles described below, determine what quadrant and which axis, or which axis. All right. So this is like the all students take calculus problem. You have cosine is negative, so less than 0 is of course negative, and tangent is also negative. So we're going to figure out which quadrant has both of these. So we have all students take calculus. So that just means these are the ones that are positive. So for this first one, cosine is less than 0. So that would be where cosine is negative. So cosine is negative, not in the first one, because they're all positive. The second one, sine is positive, so that means everything else is negative. And the third one, tangent is positive, which means everything else is negative. And of course, the fourth one, cosine is positive, so it's not that one. It's only where cosine is negative. And which quadrants is tangent negative?
2, 4.
That's right. Everywhere where it doesn't say all in tangent. So that would be 2 and 4. And those two overlap in quadrant 2. So the answer is quadrant 2 because both cosine and tangent are negative. In that quadrant. Now, go ahead. What?
I think I missed the first step that you said.
Oh, you just need to know all, it's ASTC. All students take calculus. Always goes in that order.
No, when you first started. Like, with the yellow. I missed that
Oh,
one.
that was, like, not the first thing. Okay.
Well,
that's the part. Okay, just making sure. So, I was backing all the way up. I gotcha. So, cosine is negative everywhere where it doesn't say all, because all is always positive, and where it doesn't say cosine, because that means cosine is positive there. And we're looking for the opposite. So, cosine would be negative everywhere else. And that's why I highlighted those two. This one.
What is it? Tangent negative?
Yep, both of these.
Oh, it's yellow.
Or yellow, yep. Yes. And it's just where the two overlap. That is my answer. Good question. What else? Okay, the next one talks about something being undefined. So if that happens, we know it has to be just your normal unit circle, just with the 4 main points. It's got to be on an X or the Y axis.
It's like one I would expect.
Okay, oh, go ahead and leave that door cracked. Who's out there?
Do you need to know, or?
Nah. All right. So, that'll be first. So, I know it has to be on an axis, because that's the only way you can get an answer being exactly 0 for tangent, cotangent, sine, cosine, all those, or where you can get it undefined. And since this says undefined, it has to be one of those 4 points, which is one of the axes. axes. So this is the point 1, 0, because remember it's a unit circle. So to get to that point, I have to go to the right one. I don't go up or down at all. What's this top point?
0, 1.
Good. You guys seeing where I'm getting these? Really not? That's important. All right. And then we want where cotangent is undefined. So cotangent, if you look back on the unit circle and how we find cotangent, it is x over y. And we know in order for it to be undefined, 0 has to be under the line. So that means the y is going to have to be 0. So on which axis is the y 0?
The X.
Yep, the x-axis. Here and here. So that's along the x-axis. So to figure out which side of the x-axis, I use the second part. The second part says, where is cosine less than 0? So that means where's cosine negative? Well, if you look it up, cosine is equal to the x-coordinate. So the x-coordinate has to be negative. Where the x-coordinate is negative is here, on this point. So that's going to be on the negative x-axis. So it's just this side. Okay. All right. Oh, did I go too fast? Are y'all awake? No. All right. So on the back side, page 576, the terminal side. So where an angle stops. Does anybody know what that symbol is? That's not A. It's a Greek letter. Yeah. Oh. It looks like kind of like that fish.
The Jesus fish.
Yes. Alpha and Omega. That might be where it came from. I don't know. But that is alpha. And that passes through the points given below. All right. So that's just to let you know this angle. Alpha. And alpha is going to pass through this point 5, negative 3. And we're going to find all the trig ratios from that. Sine, cosine, tangent, all of those. We're going to start by graphing that point. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, negative 3 is right there. Like some circles going through there. And there's my point. Well, I know to figure out trig just stands for it's the geometry of right triangles. So if I can just turn this somehow into a right angle, I'll be able to figure out all the trig functions. So what I can do is draw a triangle. Change colors. And I'm going to set it on the positive x-axis, just because I know it's going that way.